What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today we have some new cards to talk about. It's been a while since we uploaded a video that wasn't a stream. So, without further ado, let's just jump into the new cards. First card to talk about is a Black Mamba. The level 3 Dark Reptile effect, 1300 attack, 1000 defense. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and the second effect of this card's name once per turn. You control a reptile monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls, send one reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, change the targeted monster's battle position. It's a free extender for reptile decks. It's not bad. So the thing that you're gonna want, right, is for the second effect is the less about the changing of the effect. It's more about sending the reptile to the graveyard from your deck to your hand. It's more about the foolish burial than anything. Worth noting, sending is not a cost, so they can Ash Blossom this effect. Just a heads up for those in the future who want to play this card. Next up, we got Urubonus, the Avatar of Malice. I probably butchered that name, but it's a level 5 Dark Reptile effect monster, 2000 attack, 800 defense, and first and third effects are hardwood returns each. First effect says you contribute one reptile to special summon this card from your hand, and its second effect says all monsters your opponent controls lose 300 attack and defense. Its third effect says tribute one monster. All face-up monsters your opponent controls lose attack and defense equal to the tributed monster's attack and defense. So the only card, or the only deck this kind of fits into is the Ogodic archetype, and even then they don't really need this. Their whole archetype is kind of around special summoning from grave rather than hand, but the tributing of reptiles isn't really a downside in that deck. That's what could kind of use it, but the problem is that it's level 5. It's not really the right levels. The deck wants 7s, 8s, 4s, stuff like that. If you're gonna do the Xyz build, if you're just gonna link them away, it doesn't really matter. But I still don't think this card is very useful, in my honest opinion. It does. This is an activated effect as well, so they can respond to it. It's not a unclassified inherent summon type of effect. But we're gonna move on to Lamia. Just Lamia. The level 4 Dark Reptile effect monster, 1300 attack, 1500 defense. Its first and second effects are hard once per turn each. If this is a normal summon, you can add one level 8 reptile monster from your deck to your hand. Not bad. When this card is banished, you can target one reptile monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by card effects until the end of the next turn. It is also not terrible. So this card's not terrible. Its downside is that it eats up your normal summon, most likely. But adding a level 8 reptile monster from your deck to your hand isn't actually all that bad. We have cards, like I said, the Ogodic are all, I'm pretty sure most of them are, if not all of them, are actually level 8s, except for their big boss monster. So it can add any of those. Also, level 8 allows you to play trade-in. So if your deck is already playing a bunch of level 8 reptiles, you can play trade-in. And since it's dark, you can Allure Darkness is a good way, an easy way to get this effect if you really want to. It's not a terrible card. It's like pretty niche, I would say, is the way to describe this. Next up, we got and this is a literal translation, apparently. A Venomous Snake's Grudge. And it's a continuous trap card. Second and third effect of this card's name are hard ones for turns each. Non-reptile monsters you control cannot attack or activate their effects. If a reptile monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 4 or lower reptile monster from your deck. If this card in the spell and trap card zone is destroyed return all your banished reptile monsters to the grave. Okay. Um, so it's definitely telling you to play only reptiles. We can probably work around that pretty easy. Second effect is fine. But it's not, and its third effect is okay as well. But I don't think this card is very good. It's not really good enough. It's not disruptive enough for your opponents. Um, but yeah, I don't see really like a use for this card, to be honest, other than giving your loading. Then we got Hellfire Spearman Ghost Lancer, or what the Viz one is, Ghost Lancer Underworld Spearman. So that's probably going to be the actual English name. It's a level 5 dark zombie effect with 2000 attack and 0 defense. First effect states, if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Oh, if only your opponent controls a monster. Yeah, okay, so it's like Cyber Dragon. Cannot be destroyed by battle except with a monster from the extra deck. And then it has Piercing. So, worth noting, this is called an unclassified effect by official standards. It does not activate. As soon as the conditions are met, you can just summon it, like Cyber Dragon. The community calls it Inherent Summoning. That's the non-official tagline for this type of effect. What do I think about this card? It's fine. It's a Cyber Dragon. It's not the worst, but I think we've come a long way since Cyber Dragon. But once again, it's not terrible. If there's an OTK zombie deck, this could definitely probably see some play in it if they're not focused on synchro summoning very specific levels. Alright, we're gonna move on to Ghost Sleeper, the Underworld Sleeping Beauty. It's a level 3 dark zombie effect monster with 1300 attack and 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Ghost Fusion from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, except for the turn this is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and discard a card, then target one of your level 4 or higher zombie monsters, or banish zombie monsters, and add it to your hand. This card's pretty good. It doesn't care how it's sent is the main good thing about this card. It doesn't have to leave the field. It doesn't have to be discarded. It doesn't have to be by a card effect. It can be literally any of those. It can be any of those and all that. And it can be as cost. It can be like anything. It's really good. So, good thing to know. Second effect, what makes that effect so good? Well, zombies want to be in the graveyard. This recycles your Mizukis and stuff like that. This deck will want Mizuki. Every zombie deck, as a general rule, wants Mizuki. Ghost Fusion. I don't know what that card does yet. Maybe it's a new card. If it's a new card, cool. We'll get to it. If it's an old card, you can tell me about it in the comment section down below. So, we're going to move on. I think this card's pretty good. Foolish Burial is really good with this card. Link Summoning off with this card is pretty good. And since it's level 3, you can do like Cherubini and stuff like that. Next we got Ghost Wyvern, the Underworld Dragon. Level 4 Dark Zombie Effect Monster. 1700 attack, 0 defense. First and second effects, once per turn each. Normal or special summon, you can add 1 Ghost Fusion from your deck to your hand. During the end phase of this card was banished this turn, you can take 1 level 2 or lower zombie tuner from your deck and either add to your hand or send it to the graveyard. What's really cool about this is when this card is banished, right, you just can send the Plague Spreader. Or the level 2 Mayakashi as well. Those are 2 things that that this card can do. It being a dark allows you to banish it with like Allure of Darkness, stuff like that. It's cards that zombie decks can generally play anyway, a lot of them anyway. So yeah, also like, yeah, I think this card's pretty good just in general. Definitely cool for the ghost archetype. This ghost archetype looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll build around it, mess with it on line and on the online simulators and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool nonetheless. Uh, so Ghost Fusion. This is the card that kept getting referred to on all those other cards. What does it do? Normal spell. Activate one card with this card's name per turn. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as material. Only zombie monsters can be fusioned. Can be used as fusion material for this effect. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can also banish one zombie from your hand, deck, or graveyard as material. So what this does is allows you to guarantee you're getting you're gonna banish your level 4 that search this. If your life points are lower than your opponent's. So what that means is you can banish the Wyvern from the deck, so that at the end phase you can send a Plague Spreader and set up for next turn where you can start going off with some awesome synchro plays. That's something you can do. Also, the level 2, we don't have one spoiled for this archetype, but that's just something to keep in mind, is one of those. Very good card. It's a pretty good card. I don't like that you have to control the monsters, and it has like a lot of downsides. It's pretty searchable though. That's a good thing. Downside wise, you have to control the monsters unless your life points are lower than your opponent's, and then you only get one material gone. That's my main gripe with this card, but we're gonna move on to Numbers Evaille. So, Numbers Evaille is a normal spell card. If only your opponent controls a monster, special summon from the extra deck. Choose 4 number XCs with different ranks in your extra deck. Add the numbers in the names all together and special summon 1 number XCs from your extra deck with a number in its name equal to the result. And if you do, attach all the chosen as material. You cannot special summon while you control it except XC's numbers, and this is treated as an XC summon. Oh boy. So 4 numbers with different ranks in your extra deck to add up to something. I feel like there's a card that this is gonna be extremely broken with, and I'm just not thinking of it. I might be wrong. I know you can't summon number 10,000. Luckily, with this, but there ain't no way 4 numbers are gonna equal 10,000. But the number of monsters. But man. So once you get higher up, I would assume like you had to summon like the 107s, 108s, and stuff like that. This card's probably gonna be hard to pull off, but I just imagine that there's a number monster I'm not thinking of that is like really broken if you get like a lot of materials on, but it's like kind of hard to, that no one's really even bothered. So I'm just kind of imagining that there's something like that, and I'm just not thinking of it. Because this card has like an obscene potential, but I'm pretty sure all the number monsters that are ever gonna exist are already out. So yeah, pretty interesting card. Kind of crazy, depending on you know, everything goes on with this card and what's around it. Then we got Reincarnation of the 7 Emperors, a normal trap card. Your Xyz monster that is a number monster with a number between 101 and 107 in its name, or as such as a material battles during damage calculation, banish it and any number of materials to it. During the end phase of the turn, you activate this card, special summon 1 rank 3 or lower XCs from your extra deck, except a number monster. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack. This is some anime protagonist card that they probably used in like a very niche situation to burn their opponent for game. I don't think this card is very good. I think it requires a little bit too much to pull off, and that the payoff of summoning a rank 3 and burning them that's not a number monster isn't worth losing a number monster with all that, with the materials and stuff like that. I don't think this card's worth it in my honest opinion, even in like a really like casual sense. This card could probably lead to some funny scenarios, but I don't recommend it. Then we got Rebirth of the Seven Emperors. It's the normal trap card. Tribute all Xyz monsters you controlled and target one of your banished Xyz monsters. Special summon it, then attach it. Number monsters with the numbers between 1 and 107 in their names that are banished and or in your graveyards, up to the number attributed +1 to it as material. During the end phase of the turn you activate this card, each player takes 300 for each card in their hand. Once again, this is a very niche kind of burn strategy that they're kind of trying to facilitate with these 101 to 107s. They're like trying to make you play this weird burn deck for some reason. I don't get it, but you know, I'm sure maybe there's some FTK that comes out of this. I highly doubt it though. This card is not hard once per turn. Neither is the one that burns this one either. So I guess technically you can kind of flip these back and forth to burn your opponent. That's about it. And then we got Xyz Bento. So, last card we're talking about on this page. Normal trap card. If a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can target one Xyz monster you control. Attach one monster from your opponent's graveyard to it as material. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one special summoned monster from the extra deck and change its battle position. So the second effect can probably be a mild annoyance and can, you know, probably save you from getting OTK'd, assuming they're not a board full of link monsters. But that's about it. As far as this one goes, this is also too niche to see any real play. In like a casual sense, you could probably make it work. There's probably some cards out there that you want a little bit more materials on, but in my opinion, there are still better cards to do this. Alright. We're coming over to the Witchcrafters, which is a deck I enjoy. I enjoy Witchcrafters mixed with spellbooks. So, what does these new Witchcrafters entail? There's only 2 cards that have gotten shown, and the rest are reprint announcements. So, we got Witchcrafter Vice-Master, which is a level 8 spellcaster fusion effect, 2700 attack, 2800 defense. When it requires 1 Witchcrafter monster plus 1 spellcaster monster. When a non-fusion spellcaster monster's effect or a spell card is activated, quick effect, you can activate one of the following effects. You can only choose one of the effects. You can only choose each of these effects of Witchcrafter Vice-Master once per turn. Restore 1 card on the field. Special summon 1 level 6 or lower Witchcrafter from your hand or deck, or add a spell or Witchcrafter spell or trap card from your hand or from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. The good thing about this effect. Okay, there's 2 things about this effect. One's good, one's bad. The good thing, it doesn't target. Its destruction effect doesn't target. It allows you to swarm the field a little bit easier, and it can get you one of your Witchcrafter spell and trap cards back from your graveyard to your hand. And I know that the spells add themselves back from your graveyard to your hand anyway, but that's only if you don't activate them. So this allows you to get them back even if you activate them. Next up, in my version of Witchcrafters, where I mix them with spellbooks and you use Spellbook of Fate and stuff like that in the to kind of control with Madame Vere, having this out as well with Madame Vere, for example, we can and having Fate set, Fate, activate Fate, select the Banish mode. Banish doesn't target, this card's destruction doesn't target. You get rid of 2 cards on the field for that. Madame Vere is going to activate, because you can only use each of these effects once per turn. You get to activate all of them as long as you meet the requirements, but you can only choose one of each. So, they activate a monster effect. You pitch a spell card to negate it with Madame Vere. Then you get a special summon a Witchcrafter from your hand or deck because you activated a Witchcrafter. Next up, if you have one more spell card in your hand, you only need one more spell card. You activate that Witchcrafter that's a level 6 or lower on the field, assuming this is the main phase, to summon out the one that can pop face up cards. You activated another effect. You can add one of the ones you sent or one of the ones you added or used for fusion summon back to your hand to kind of refill what you're doing. That's what you can do in a turn in my version of the deck. Alright, here's the downside. This card can miss timing. Yes, this card unfortunately can miss timing. That's the worst thing about this card. Man, if this was just an if effect, oh, it would have been so good. But it can miss timing, and that might not necessarily hold it back as much as I think it will, but it does kind of suck that it can do that. Also, about the level 6 or lower, that's not a real downside for the level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster, because you want to summon like the 7s and 8s, like Vere and Haynes, I believe. But the thing is that the level 6 or lower ones float into those and can do it at quick effect. So that's not a real downside either. Good card, it would be much better. It would be so good if it wasn't for the fact that it can miss timing. Man. Alright. Then we got the fusion. What does the fusion do? Witchcrafter Confusion. Nice little pun. Normal spell card. Activate one of the first and second effects of this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. So all of them have that. First effect is the fusion summon from your hand or field, including at least one Witchcrafter, and then during the end phase, if this is in your graveyard, and you control a Witchcrafter, you can add it back. You only get to use one of these effects, and that's it. So, yeah, it fits in line with the Witchcrafter cards. I think that, like, you could probably play this as a one-of. I don't see you playing this that much more. The Witchcrafter cards, you don't play, ironically enough, funny enough, you don't play, like, too many of the spell cards in the deck, unless you're playing, like, a pure Witchcrafter deck. When you're mixing them with other things, like I do with spellbooks, you don't really play a lot of them, because they all recycle themselves. But this card is, like, good, and I would probably play this card over some of the other Witchcrafter spell cards, because most of the other ones are not very good. The only ones I would consider like good are Holiday, which is the Monster Reborn, the Searcher, By Street, which prevents them from being destroyed once, and then Unveiling is good in certain matchups, but after that, you're like really slim pickings. And out of all of those, the Searcher is like a 3 of, Holiday is like a 1 of, By Street's like a 1 or 2 of at most. So that'd be like 6. And then like Unveiling is what I was playing for 7. And then Scrolls for like an 8th one. Copy of Scrolls, but I'd probably replace Scrolls with this. personally. And then it's just gonna talk about the reprint and stuff like that. Okay, it's creation. Creation is the searcher. Demonstration or unveiling is the this one. And yeah. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. You can tell me what you think of the new archetypes, like the generic reptile support and the ghost archetype, in the comment section down below. Same with the Witchcrafters. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday. And if you want to send me any cool deck profiles, replays, anything like that, my email's in the description, JankyYGO@gmail.com. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.